somebody on Facebook was
Okay,
so yes,
self-defense is nonsense. You're on the
yeah,
record.
yesterday I posted self-defense is nonsense. And then somebody starts arguing with, well, but you this, that. I'm like, no, 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 we have the data. No, no, no. I've been doing
Well,
this
my
40,
question is, Antonio,
43 years.
do you think self-defense could be improved? Do you think people could do it better, or just the whole concept of it is nonsense?
I think a lot of it is the concept is nonsense because I think the bottom line is that there's no shortcuts and you have to learn how to fight and you have to be fit and strong and all the things that go with it. And that all takes time. And I don't
Hmm.
think you can teach somebody quickly. I mean, I look at how badly people punch, for the first months that they're training with you. It's like it takes a long time to learn it. It takes thousands and thousands and thousands of repetitions to learn it.
I see your point. I still have a hope, though, Antonio. I still have a hope that there's a couple things. Maybe not. It's not going to make them the baddest people around, but if I could just give them a couple things, it could help. Like not things like people think they're going to be Jordan Burroughs in a day or something like that. I mean, then they're just smoking crack.
It
But
takes weeks to become like Jordan
yeah,
Burroughs.
well, it's just like literally weeks, sometimes 2 weeks.
Weeks.
Yeah.
Or it could
but
take a month.
but I have a hope that like if it could be something as simple as like when somebody grabs you, getting that hand off and keeping that hand off. Like to have
Right, right,
like
right,
if I
right,
have like a very modest goal, but that's a hard sell, right? I'm gonna teach you this one very small thing. This movement. See, I think
right,
moves are kind of BS. Like when teachers they give their students like they think they're like stupid kids on Christmas. I'm gonna teach you an
right,
armbar.
right,
I'm gonna teach you a headlock. I'm gonna teach you tomoe nage. I'm gonna teach you 5 things, and nothing is gonna set in. Not there's no learning being done.
right, right, right.
But if you're like, I'm gonna teach you how to keep good posture. I'm gonna teach you how to have a stance where you don't fall down just when the wind blows on you.
But even
Having
that, right?
realistic goals
Why do you have good posture? Why do you have good posture
because I've been pulled on before.
every day of your life since you were what age?
I don't know.
Do you see where this is going?
No, no,
Do you see my point?
I genuinely disagree though. I think you can give people good fundamentals, but fundamentals are just not a harder sell because they're not as interesting. I'm
Yeah.
not talking about
Look,
making world champions here. I'm just talking about helping people improve their confidence and their life skills. But that's just my
I would say,
opinion.
yeah, I would say that. Yeah, but I want to try and get away from opinion. I mean, that's the thing because people always hide behind well, it's just my opinion. I'm like, well, let's make it not an
Okay, I
opinion.
believe
Let's
this. I believe
Right.
this.
Well, okay, then let's look at the data. Let's look at the factual data, right? So who do you know that has good fight posture? And did they learn that in a self-defense class or did they learn that through, 10 years of wrestling?
They learn it from doing. They learn it from doing. But also feel like if somebody told me how to do it, like for instance, like you doing jujitsu, right? You keep getting in triangles. You keep getting triangles. So you're asking for triangle escapes. But what you should be asking is, how do I not get pulled down? How do I? Oh, damn it! I think I'm proving you right. You got to have good balance. You got to move.
Where do
You
you
got
get
to
good balance?
react
It's
to
like
your partner. But I just feel
I
like you
do,
can slow it down on a level that
yeah,
everybody can do. Not saying you have to be a competitor. So many guys come to wrestling practice and be like, I'm gonna get back to my high school weight, and then I'm gonna like cut 40 pounds, and I'm gonna like be doing like all these crazy moves and stuff, and then I'm gonna learn this other stuff. And I'm like, dude, just come to practice. Don't hurt yourself. Get
right,
exercise. Have fun. I feel like
right.
people have this all or
I agree
nothing. I'm
with
gonna be a
that.
champion, or I'm gonna
Oh,
be
I certainly
nothing.
agree. I agree with all that. I agree with all that.
Okay.
And I agree with the success being measured by you succeeded relative to who you are and what you can do. Right. Like I got a friend of mine, lady friend, she never exercised in her life.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's doing like 10, 15 minutes of my yoga with me every day before wrestling practice. Like she comes
Oh,
in
one
and
of
she
your
does the yoga part.
Mongolian students.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. And I do like 45 minutes. Like I make my wrestlers do about 45 minutes of like yoga and calisthenics. She does about the first 15 minutes. And for me, I'm like, you have just achieved this is a major achievement relative to where you are.
Hmm.
So I'm totally with you on that. Like I want to encourage people to succeed, within the scope of where they are. But I think there is a certain recognition that we have to have that this is where you are. You are not something else.
Yeah, I guess you can't have your cake and eat it too. It feels
Yeah.
like, but I'm on. Yeah, you can say you can do something really cool, but it's not what you think, you know,
Yeah,
or
yeah, sure.
But it
You have to
is really
adjust it. Yeah.
cool, right? And in
Yeah.
fact, I had to learn how to reset my own goals too, because I expected too much and I was disappointed. But then I almost gave up teaching. But then I found like there's people that don't know what I know. What? They don't only don't know it, they've never heard of it.
Yep. You start
And it
realizing you
blows my
actually have a
mind.
lot you have a lot yeah. Because it's so obvious to you. It's so obvious to me that like okay, so I'm teaching I got one girl right now that I'm teaching to box MMA. And then I got a boy that I'm working with on his freestyle wrestling. And the girl, I'm teaching her combinations and she's and I'm keep your hands up, keep your hands up. And then when she throws a combination, she brings her hands down and throws from
Uh,
here.
but
And it's like
when you get hit, you naturally start being like, oh, something's wrong, right?
hopefully, I don't think so though, because I see too many fighters that have been fighting for 10 years that bringing their hands down. They're getting hit unnecessarily.
When they get tired?
They, yeah, because they don't have a coach that smacked them every time. Because one of the things I tell my people is when you have your hands up, touch your face with your hand
Uh,
because you'll notice that you don't feel it. Because what happens if you're here and you get tired, your hands slowly come down, right? And you're not aware of it. If you're touching your face, you'll suddenly go, "Oh, I can't feel my hands," and you'll bring them up. But regardless of
that's,
what the mnemonic is to make them remember it, just my point is what you just said. This person is doing this very, very basic thing that I wouldn't even think about anymore, and you got to teach them, don't drop your hands.
I'm even keeping my hands up during this meeting. You might come to that monitor. I don't know. Oh, don't drop your hands. No, I was trying that kind of psychology with my kids' class, right? Like, it drove me crazy. Like, they'll like lay down. I was like, when do we lay down and practice? When do we
Mm-hmm.
lay down? First, I used to say, don't lay down and practice, or don't sit down and practice. But now I say, when do we lay down and practice? And they're like, I don't know.
Right. That's a good one.
And
That's
now
a
they
good
all
one.
say, we don't lay down and practice. We don't. So
We
somebody else
never
will
let
say
that.
it, We don't. Like,
When do the
I,
tops of your feet, this is the hard one. When do the tops of your feet touch the ground? It's
always.
never. You're always on your toes.
Oh, okay. So
But
that's
like when,
boxing, yeah. But yeah, I
yeah,
guess
no,
you
but
should be
like,
on your toes no matter what, yeah.
yeah, yeah, for wrestling too, when you get on the ground, the lazy person, normal person, the top of their foot goes on the ground. It's like, no, your toes stay on the ground, even though it's a
Uh-huh.
little bit uncomfortable. Yeah,
No, that's
yeah,
good too. But since I
yeah.
did that and I make them say it, they do it.
Yes, yes,
And now other
yes,
kids will say,
yes.
somebody else sits down and says, when do we sit down? I was like,
Oh,
yes, yes. Here
yes.
the hazing starts. But I mean, I try to
And
keep it
now,
open, but it's so much easier when other people are part of the culture. When do we
and
sit
now
down?
that you've proved me right, let's just recap.
Did I prove you right?
Someone have learned that in a 3-day seminar. You've had these kids for how many weeks, and they're still learning this. But what? Somebody else is going to learn that in a 3-day seminar?
Yes, yes, you're right. But I still
I
believe
mean,
in people. I still believe in them. But yes, you have to have a level of commitment. Yes, no matter what level of commitment.
that's it. Because you and I are still making tons of mistakes. So certainly I am. I don't know about you, but I make tons and tons and tons. And I've been
No,
training my
never.
whole
Not even
life.
one.
Not what you
Not
worked all
one.
that stuff out
No, I worked. The
in the
only
first
mistake
five
I had
years.
is letting my cat sleep on my table. Hey, you're
Well,
totally
may I
on
ask
my
you, how
keyboard.
old are you? I don't actually know how old you are. Is it a secret?
I'm 39.
Oh, you're 39. Okay. All right. So you're like 15, 16 years younger than me. So when I started martial arts, you weren't born yet.
Nah, man. I stopped comparing myself to the greats, Antonio. You're like Batman.
No, no,
Like
no, no,
Batman
no.
for
I don't
real.
mean like
Like
that.
Batman with a budget.
What's your superpower? Rude. Um, no, but I just mean like, because I'm still fighting, and it's like people that have all these opinions, and a lot of times the guy's like, I've been in martial arts 50 years. I'm like, no, no, no. You started 50 years ago. There's a difference.
No, here's the thing that I love, right? And I get all this time in wrestling class, right? And I can't take credit for this quote, but another one of my guys I train with said this. So you wrestled for 20 years and you still suck. So
Right,
why do you tell people that? I tell people I just started. So it was like I wrestled for 30 years and you're not good? I wouldn't tell people that. That would be my forefront where I start the
right.
conversation. And I
That's pretty
suck.
funny.
Like I never say that. I never even think about how long have you been training? Oh,
But I mean,
know.
that's why I get frustrated with the argument about self-defense or judo versus wrestling or whatever. It's like, dude, all this stuff, there is empirical data. We can prove it. I don't know why it needs to be argued. It doesn't. From an academic standpoint, once something has been proven, we don't need to argue it again unless you have new data or new information that
Well,
challenges it. But we've arrived at the conclusion. We know, right? We know.
well, you quantify what's better. I mean, why does something have to be better? It can just be good for you, right? Can
Because that
it?
was the question. Because that was the question. And I'm not saying something has to be better, but if you ask me the question, what is better, then something has to be better, right? I'm not saying something has to be better. That's the
Uh-huh.
other mistake people make. They start off by saying my self-defense is better, and then it's something like, well, things don't have to be better. Like, well, actually, it does because you said it did at the beginning, right? So, what is it you actually want to prove? As a professor, I got to ask you, what is it you actually want to, But I mean, you could come in to the wrestling hall. This is the other thing that kills me. You come in the MMA gym, right? Like right now, I'm training my freestyle wrestler kid in an MMA gym.
hmm
Anybody comes in there, you sambo, judo, whatever you want to come in. Everybody's going to want to wrestle you. Everybody's going to want to fight. Everyone's going to learn from you. You're going to learn from them. It's like the awesomest experience, And you walk into like 90% of like dojos or you know um self defense. They won't do that.
Hmm. Well, I think they're just trying to expand their demographic, right? I mean, because, like, 10, 20 years ago, gyms would try and stay afloat with fighters, They think, oh, I have one fighter, maybe he makes it, and then I cash in on. But there's not, like, only a few people can see like that. So they started marketing towards average people that maybe get in and then maybe they'll lose some weight, share
Yep,
that with
yep, yep.
friends, and then
Which is all fine.
and then I think it,
Yeah.
it, it goes more towards that. But I think it's the dark side of it is like they might be still making those people think that I'm gonna be UFC champion or something like that,
Maybe, maybe,
or they might
maybe.
come to those
Or you're better
conclusions.
than UFC champion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're
But
better than you, and you don't need all that nonsense to know you're better. You just know you're better. You're not insecure.
but I like that it's more inclusive, and fighters are hard to rely
It
on.
is good to be more inclusive.
I mean,
It's
like if
good
you're
to be
gonna
more
make an
inclusive.
income
You have
off
to
a fighter, and it's not GSP, you're gonna be
totally
waiting
agree with
around.
you.
What's that?
Totally agree with you. But then your stated goal has to match your activity, right?
Yeah, I guess.
And that's what I'm arguing again. I mean, I'm an academic, right? So it's like for me, it's okay. Well, what is the academic question that you're asking, and then let's prove the answer, and then we can move on. And if you tell me that your goal, it's kind of like the guy who tells you, my goal is to lose 100 pounds, right? And then he like eats all the snacks, right? Stated goal doesn't match
I lost 100
behavior.
pounds one time I was in England. I got drunk, lost my wallet. That's I've never
I
been
had
in
100
England.
pounds.
I
I had
lost
100
I
pounds
lost
in my
120
pocket.
pounds.
I sank to the bottom of the sea. Those coins in England, man, you'll drown. No, but like when Jordan, the sumo wrestler, came here, you know how excited I was. I was so excited. I've never wrestled a sumo wrestler.
Mm,
And that's the attitude in like in sort of MMA is oh my god, you do sambo? I've never wrestled a sambo guy. Let me see
mm.
what that's all about,
What was it like training with Jordan?
Jordan was
Does he have like a really good
unbelievably,
sumo base? I saw he did judo.
yes,
Um, but was he like employing more sumo techniques, or was he kind of just incorporating things as you guys train?
The things he's amazing at in sumo is launching off the ground. And when we did sumo at one of the wrestling clubs where one of the kids was getting ready to go to Japan, and one day Jordan like really cut loose on them sumo wise, and every time the coach said, Hajime or whatever they say when they start, Jordan launched off the ground and smashed people and like knocked them, 20 meters out of the ring. Like unbelievable how
Well, and
fast
this
he
is
could
in
accelerate.
Mongolia, right? So these kids are
Yeah.
definitely beefing up to do like pro level sumo. That's their goal, right?
Yes. Yeah.
They're
Yeah. Yeah.
not just
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Well,
trying
one
it.
one of them was on his way. One of them was on
Uh-huh.
his way. He's in Japan right now. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Jordan's smashing, huh?
Jordan was smashing them. And the other one was when we did drills where we would do sumo drills where like the one guy is driving and the other guy's trying to push him and you push the guy all the way across the wrestling hall like that. If
Uh,
Jordan Yeah, if Jordan went like even 50, 60, 70% of power, I couldn't resist him at all. It was like for him, it wasn't even a workout because he could just run me right over. And
how
if he
much does he weigh?
resisted at all, like he 130 when he got here.
Oh, well, that's not. I mean, that's a big guy, but for sumo
Yeah,
wrestling, I mean,
yeah.
for sumo, that's a good size. Yeah, 130
It's
pounds.
for
What's 130? What is that in pounds? Is that over 300?
270.
No,
No, no, probably like 278 or something.
I mean that's a big guy. Yeah.
It's a 288. Yeah, it's a big guy.
Honestly,
I
there's
think he
like
was.
a margin of how do you say that? Where you come diminishing returns? Probably once you
Yeah,
get
yeah,
over
yeah.
270, you probably don't get that much unless you
That much
yeah
benefit.
better yeah.
Yeah. But like here in Mongolia, like I've wrestled a lot of guys that size. And if it's under like catch rules or sambo rules or something, like I can win. I'm not saying every time, but I can win against guys that much bigger than me. But against Jordan, like if we went sumo rules or even freestyle rules or judo rules, like I mean, I'm not going to be able to take him down at all. There's no way I'm going to take him down. So I'll win on the ground. So then it depends on what the rule set is.
Hmm.
And the other thing is he could really hurt you taking you down. That's another big difference because
Can
in
he do
MMA,
like wrestling takedowns, or
yes,
does he just stick more to upright sumo techniques?
he
Because he has
has
a
some
base in
wrestling
judo, right?
background. He had private wrestling lessons from a Dagestani coach in Israel for several years, but I
Hmm.
don't think he ever competed in wrestling. Yeah.
Wow. I don't want to get throw in religion, but Muslims teach Jews.
You know what? I never asked him if his coach was Muslim or not. I don't know.
I would assume Dagestan, right?
I, I don't know because there's a
I mean,
weird
that gives me
phenomenon where
hope. I'm very glad that it happened, but like, what?
where,
What?
where I live in New York, where I live in New York, barbers, like probably 30% of barbers are Jews from Central Asia.
hmm
Like they're from like Uzbekistan. Hey, Lumel is here.